Hello, custom car enthusiasts, and welcome back to Car Mechanic Simulator 2018. In this episode, we're going to go ahead and do the story mission. So we've got the Salem K-Ron here. This is a limited edition K-Ron. At the price that I've paid, it was practically a steal. The problem is that it sat in a barn for a while. Check it out and see if this was a great find or just a piece of junk. Either way, please fix it up for me. Money is no issue here, just make it pretty. Gotcha. Well, outside doesn't look too bad. Oh, but there are things that it does want replaced. So we'll get that list taken care of. Then we're going to probably end up pulling the engine out. So let's go ahead. We'll start with the body parts, as I always like to do. Get those taken care of first, and then we'll move on from there. Alright, so we've got the left tail lights already removed. We need the rear window, front door windows, and the rear left window. Alright, so the window is just missing. Alright, so all the parts are actually already missing. So I don't have to remove anything. Let's just go in here to the body. K-Ron. Alright, so we need the front glass for both sides. The front window. Back window, and the left tail light. I believe that's everything. Alright, so does that take care of this list? Perfect. Let's go back to normal mode, and yeah, this engine definitely has its difficulties. We'll go ahead and pull the engine out first, and then we'll worry about suspension or anything afterwards. So let's get it up in the air. We're gonna need this lift over here. So let's just move it to the bay for right now. Let's move this over as well, because we're gonna need to drain any oil. Now this was a car that was parked in a barn, evidently, but this particular one did have oil in it. I'm guessing because it was a story mission car. Ooh, yeah. Let's go ahead and take this off while we're under here. I mean, really, what I'm seeing is we're gonna pretty much have to disassemble everything on this car. There's the starter. Accessible from the engine bay, of course. So the exterior of the car looks nice, but the interior sort of messed up. Alright. You know what? Let's go ahead and take the battery out as well as the radiator. Save ourselves some time later with that. These little clips are so challenging to get out, but we'll get them here real fast. Definitely might as well take that out as well. Now we've got everything out. Now let's raise it back up, get the clutch or the gearbox off. Then we can pull this engine out. Well, I had all the exhaust off, but appears that I was incorrect. Ah, there we are. And I'm gonna have to take the manifold part off first. Really is making this quite painful to simply remove this engine. Might have just been better off just redoing it in the car, but I do like having it on the stand. Find that makes it so much easier. Alright, got that piece off. Let's re-raise it up again, and we'll take off this exhaust. There we go. Now drop the car down, and we'll pull that engine. Get rid of this for now. And let's get this brake servo out as well. Alright, so let's go ahead. First, let's rotate the engine so we can get those pistons off. At least all the bottom work done. I have to say, with the way the body looks and stuff, if this is a collector's car of some kind, probably it's going to be worth it, as long as you got it at a good deal, which he indicated that he had. So, we'll go ahead and take all these pieces off. My apologies if you're hearing some noise in the background. As I said a few episodes ago, we got a new little puppy, and she isn't too thrilled all the time being in her kennel or whatnot, but she needs to rest right now because of her leg and such. So she's moving around in there. So if that's picked up on the recording, do apologize, but the good news is she does seem to be healing nicely. So hopefully soon enough she'll be back up and being the crazy puppy that she is. I always find it interesting that we take these pieces off over here instead of just when we're taking the gearbox off. To me, that would seem like it would be more sensible. Alright. So hopefully most of this is just going to need a nice cleanup, but we will have to see. If you remember, I did get the improved capabilities of repairing parts, so I think most should go fairly smoothly that I'm allowed to repair. Get these spark plugs out. Not actually sure what this is. Oh, it's the ignition coil. Alright. Bit unique. Now I'll get the head pulled. Alright. Everything's out. let's take it over to the bench and see what we can repair and what we're going to need to replace. Hey, we got a award for the amount of parts that we fixed. Alright, so we repaired a decent amount, it looks like. Whoops. We do have some things. This, I think, is from a previous car, because I haven't taken off a brake for this vehicle yet. So that's probably off the previous car. These things I can't repair, it looks like. Yeah, let's go by condition. So there are definitely things I'm going to need to replace. But overall, biggest stuff, we really got done fairly well there. Alright, so let's go by name. I'm going to go ahead and go purchase things, and then we will come right back and go ahead and continue with our episode. Alright, so as we can see, we're still missing quite a few parts that need to be replaced in the car. That's going to be all the running gear there, basically. So first and foremost, let's go ahead and work on this engine. So, bought all the parts we needed to start pretty much from scratch. Let's get these pistons back in. So these are brand new pistons. There we go. Alright, so as normal, gonna go ahead and put in all these caps, hold everything in place here, and then that way I can go ahead and seal up this portion of the engine. It's one of those, I'm gonna do the same thing with the underside of the car. I could, in theory, guess as what needed, or do the different tests in order to figure out what was needing to be replaced. But the fact of the matter is, I'm going to probably just take everything off and replace what needs to be replaced while repairing everything else. Alright, so we got all that there. Let's go ahead and rotate the engine. Add parts on. Alright, head's in place, crankshaft. Get the intake manifold over here. Get this throttle put in place. The fuel rail. Really, this rebuild's going along fairly smoothly here. Not too many concerns. Alright, got the ignition coil put in place. We'll get the brand new spark plugs put in. Then this engine will be running nice and smoothly. Then we just got to get the car into the same type of shape. Right, that's in place. Now to connect the belts. Alright, I think that's everything on it. Yep, I mean everything else is going to go in the car. So we're good here. Let's go ahead and take it off there. And we will go ahead and bring this back over. Before we put the engine back in place though, let's go ahead into the engine bay here, put in the new battery we purchased, get the brake servo put back in place, get the new radiator in place, the radiator fan housing, and the fan. Then we'll get the air filter base put in, the new air filter, get the cover on it, then get these tiny little clips put in place. Alright, so all of that's put in place. Let's go ahead and install that engine. Perfect. This can go away now. You know what? We'll do everything on the bottom of the car all at the same time as far as the reinstall. Meaning, let's take everything off first. Gonna be a slightly longer episode, but I'm alright with that. I know people have asked for me to do the car all in one episode, so we're gonna do that this time. As I said, possibly could leave parts of this on, but you know what? Even if they don't technically need to be taken off for the challenge, I'm going to take them off, see if I can at least repair them, make them a little bit better than they were. Sort of just feel like having this car pretty much be 100% here. I think a few of the body panels have a little bit of an issue to them, but overall this car is going to be fairly close to 100% when I'm done with it. Everything taken off, everything fixed or replaced. As I've said before in other videos, this is not the best way to do it as far as finances and stuff. But I'm doing perfectly well as far as finances, so I'm not too worried at all. This is more for my enjoyment. That was not what I wanted to take off. Let's go ahead and add that back on. There we go. I also did realize there is one more part I need to mount onto the car from the engine bay. I'll do that here in a moment once I get all of this stuff off. Actually, I also missed the ABS there. Let's pull that down, get the ABS taken care of as well. Somehow completely overlooked this. Oh, I've got to put on the bottom part first. Alright, well, let's just leave the hood open for now then. Takes it a moment for it to realize that I'm on to the next piece already. I'm already ready to move on. It needs that moment. That's alright. That's it. Sort of curious to see how much of this is reusable and how much of it I'm going to have to replace. But in either case, not really too worried about it. Alright. Pretty much everything's been taken off. Other than the fuel tank here. Got that off as well now. So that works out great. Yeah, everything seems to be off, so I think we're good. Let's head over to the bench here, see what we can repair. Actually, before I get too involved in that, I do need to separate these wheels and the shocks as well. Alright, that should be the only ones I have, yep. Alright, so we got all that off. Let's get this last wheel taken apart here. There we go. Now we'll head over to the bench. Alright. Overall, seems like we did a decent job on it. Still have to buy some parts though. So I will go ahead and do that, and then we'll be back to reinstall everything. Alright, so let's go ahead and put these things back together as we need to. We were able to save all of the rims, which is great. I did get new tires for the vehicle, but you know what? Again, I feel like the car's worth it. Why do all this work and have it riding on old tires? Alright, so we'll take that. Then we'll have all the pieces we need to reassemble this. There are no more to work on. Perfect. Alright, while that's working, we can start some of the assembly here. Let's go ahead and put the fuel tank in. Brand new, as well as the fuel pump. We can put this rear end in. Take that one. We've got this last one to balance. Get the spring cap down. Alright, so there will be no problems left on this car once we're done here. Very nice. Let's get the last of those tires. We'll head over this side and complete the installation of the back end here. Just realized over on this side, do need to put in the leaf spring and leaf spring plate here. Same on this side. There we go. Alright, so the back end is pretty much taken care of now. Whoops, didn't want to go over there. I wanted to go ahead and put in these muffler parts as we're heading along here. Alright. Let's drop the car down and get everything under the hood buttoned up here. We can put that ABS pump in, then the module attached to it. Perfect. Now let's get this exhaust manifold on. There we go. And then last thing to do here, under the hood, is fill this engine with some oil. Alright, so that is taken care of. Close that hood up. In theory, this should all be taken care of now. Alright, so we've got that all done, that all done. Now it's just the parts, really, the starter and gearbox are the only things, along with the drive shaft, that we supposedly still have to take care of. I've got to rebuild the front of the car still, but you know what? That's perfectly fine. And of course the starter has to be from the engine bay. But you know what? We'll wait on that. We're going to start putting the stuff in on the front of the car here. Get our rubber bushings in place because they are a pain later if I forget them now. There we go. Whoop. Wasn't what I really wanted to put on, but you know what? It'll work. I was wanting to put that tie rod on first. Not going to put the tire on here just yet. You just want to get everything behind the tire still put on. And it's a lot easier to access without the tire. There we go. That side's taken care of. This side's got a few more pieces still to do. Get that bearing in place, then the cap, then the tire. Yep, the only thing left is that starter. So let's go ahead and lower her down, and we'll put that in. I hate when it does that. It's like, just put me in the engine bay instead of saying that I have to go a different route to get there. Alright, there we go. That should be everything checked off the list. Everything in that category is done, everything there's done, and that's done. Was a good car to work on, and was a decent profit, even though we did stuff we didn't have to do. So let's just see if there's any interesting cars here that just jump out to me. Oh, it's a Corvette. Mazda RX-7. Needs a brake job only. Nah, I think we're good for right now. Gonna go ahead and end this episode here, and we'll see what vehicles are available to us in the next episode. So if you enjoyed what I did in this episode, please go ahead and click that like button. If you've not already, please subscribe to the channel, click the bell icon, so that you're aware when I produce new videos in the future. Thank you, and hope to see you all again for more Car Mechanic Simulator 2018.